Boris Johnson is on his way out as British Prime Minister.
It is clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister.
Boris Johnson's resignation leaves the Conservative Party in disarray and undergoing a leadership contest.
What happens now? And what challenges will the new Prime Minister face?
Many observers thought Britain's decision to leave the European Union and then Boris Johnson's elevation as Prime Minister was part of a wave of populism that was sweeping the West. The question for Britain now is whether that wave continues or whether the tide goes back out. In the United States, the Republican Party has decided to double down on the legacy of Donald Trump, echoing many of his distortions and his disregard for America's constitutional norms. The evidence in Britain is the past few days is that the Conservative Party has found its limit and it wants to turn back. It has looked over the precipice and decided it doesn't want to jump, but its own bout of introspection as it decides what sort of party it wants to be really is masking the really quite significant challenges the United Kingdom faces. The British economy is going through a severe period of stress. Inflation is predicted to reach 11% in the autumn. That's being driven in large part by energy costs, which are going to be landing families with large energy bills in the autumn. Public services are under severe strain, in part due to years of tight budgets, but also a huge backlog of work that they're trying to crunch through as a result of COVID, which put hospital appointments and court cases on pause. For years, the Conservative Party has warned that its opponents would return Britain to the days of the 1970s when Britain was stricken with strikes. The truth is, Boris Johnson leaves office with significant waves of industrial action. The railway workers were on strike not so long ago. We now see strikes amongst barristers, threatened strikes amongst teachers, amongst other public servants. If we're now facing a summer with a caretaker government and a contest for a new leader, one of the questions that's going to have to be resolved is to what extent can public pay be increased without further stoking inflation? Britain has been vigorous, certainly not alone in the world, of course, but vigorous in supplying Ukraine with both weapons and money, but also a form of moral support in helping to amplify its case that this is a fight for freedom and sovereignty of the Ukrainian people. Mr. Johnson has sometimes alluded to the fact that were he to go, that policy would be put in jeopardy. I personally don't think that's the case. Support for Ukraine really is very broad within the Conservative Party, let alone within British politics and the British Republic itself. So I think in any Conservative Party leadership contest, you are going to see every single candidate reaffirm their support for Ukraine and the Ukrainian struggle. And there will almost certainly be a contest over who can pledge the most money for Britain's armed forces. Boris Johnson was the leading light of the campaign to get Britain out of the European Union in 2016. He came to office in 2019 on a pledge to get Brexit done, to deliver the divorce that Theresa May could not, and he has failed. The United Kingdom has left the EU, but the question of Northern Ireland and the common border that the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland share has not been addressed. Now, just before he was leaving office, he unveiled a new plan under which the United Kingdom would unilaterally renounce the protocol on Northern Ireland, which put arrangements in place to address that. The new leader faces a choice. Do they push on with that plan, which will toxify relations with the European Union and amount to a breach of international law, or do they return to diplomacy and trying to find an agreed solution? Boris Johnson came to power pledging to restore Britain's place in the world and end the humiliation that was the Theresa May period, when the deadlock over Brexit and her miserable exit from office really made Britain the butt of jokes in European capitals. On that measure, he has failed. Once again, a Conservative Prime Minister leaves office in less than 3 years on the clock, dragged out by their own colleagues, paralysis in government. One of the challenges facing a successor is whether they can restore Britain to the quiet competence that it was known for in its public administration and diplomacy, or whether the pratfalls of the Johnson era are destined to continue. To follow all our coverage on Boris Johnson's departure, click the link. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.